Jake Morrison pressed his face against the cold glass of the space station window. His breath fogged the surface as he watched something that would haunt him forever. Below him, Earth was dying. The alien ships looked like floating crystals made of silver and blue light. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. Each ship was the size of a city, and there were hundreds of them. They moved slowly across Earth's sky like deadly angels, raining fire on everything below. "Commander Morrison, we need orders," said Lieutenant Kevin Walsh. His voice shook with fear and anger. Jake could hear the same feelings in his own heart, but he had to stay calm. He was in charge of Liberty Prime, the last defense station still working. Jake turned away from the window. The control room buzzed with activity. Men and women in blue uniforms worked at their stations, trying to save what they could. Red warning lights flashed everywhere. The air smelled of burned electronics and fear. "How many cities are gone?" Jake asked. "New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow." Walsh read from his screen. "Sir, they're hitting everything, not just the big cities. Small towns, too. It's like they want to kill everyone." Jake's hands formed fists. 3 hours ago, these aliens had appeared without warning. No message, no demands, no chance to surrender. They just started killing. 8 billion people lived on Earth. Now Jake wondered how many would see tomorrow. Dr. Lisa. Rodriguez's voice crackled through the radio from her bunker deep in the Rocky Mountains. "Liberty Prime, this is Underground Command. We've broken their communication codes. You need to hear this." Jake grabbed the radio. "Go ahead, Lisa." "Jake, they don't see us as people. The aliens call us biological contamination. They think Earth is dirty because we live here. They plan to clean it and make it their own world." The words hit Jake like a punch to the stomach. These aliens weren't just conquerors. They saw humans the way humans saw cockroaches, something to be wiped out completely. "How long do we have?" Jake asked. "They're going to burn the atmosphere for 6 months. Then they'll start changing the air and water to match their home world. Jake, they're going to erase every trace that we ever existed." On the main screen, Jake watched Captain Ryan Kelly's small fleet fighting a hopeless battle near Earth's moon. 12 human ships faced 300 alien monsters. The human ships were fast and brave, but it wasn't enough. One by one, they exploded in balls of white fire. "Captain Kelly to all stations." Ryan's voice came through the static. "We can't stop them, but we can buy time. All evacuation ships, this is your chance. Run as far as you can." Jake watched Ryan's ship, the Dakota, charge straight at the largest alien vessel. The Dakota's engines glowed bright blue as Ryan pushed them beyond their limits. The alien ship's weapons turned toward the small human craft, but Ryan was already too close. The explosion lit up space like a new star. For a moment, Jake couldn't see anything but white light. When his vision cleared, both ships were gone. Ryan Kelly and his crew of 200 had traded their lives to destroy one alien ship and give the evacuees more time. "Evacuation ships are launching from Mars Base and Europa Station," Walsh reported. "But sir, they can only take 3 million people. What about everyone else?" Jake looked at the screen showing Earth. Fires covered entire continents. The blue oceans were turning gray from all the ash and smoke. The beautiful green and blue world he'd grown up on was becoming a burned rock. "We save who we can," Jake said quietly, "and we make sure they remember." Dr. Rodriguez spoke again from her bunker. "Jake, I'm sending you all our research data. Everything we've learned about these aliens. Someone needs to survive to use it. Lisa, what about you and your team? The bunker is 3 miles underground, but it won't matter. They're using something that melts rock. We have maybe 6 hours left." Her voice was calm, but Jake could hear the sadness. Take care of the ones who get away, Jake. Make sure they know what happened here. The evacuation took 18 hours. Small ships and big ships, military vessels and cargo haulers, anything that could fly and carry people. They went to hidden bases in the asteroid belt, to underground cities on Mars, to ice-covered colonies on the moons of Jupiter, and Saturn. Jake stayed until the very end. He watched the last evacuation ship disappear into the darkness between stars. Then he looked at Earth one more time. The world that had given birth to Shakespeare and Einstein, to music and art and love, was now a ball of fire and smoke. The aliens had won, but Jake made a promise as he prepared to leave. "This isn't over," he whispered to the dying planet below. "Someday we'll come back, and when we do, you'll pay for every single life." Jake's own ship, the Defiance, was small and fast. As he flew away from Earth, he carried with him the last 3,000 refugees and all of humanity's knowledge. Behind him, the aliens continued their work of destruction, never knowing that they had just made the worst mistake in galactic history. They had left humans alive. And humans never forget. They never forgive. And they never, ever give up. Great burning had begun, but it was not the end of humanity's story. It was only the first chapter in a tale of revenge that would take 3,000 years to complete. 1,000 years had passed since Earth burned. Admiral Kate Williams floated in the zero gravity of Titan Base's command center, watching the stars through the thick ice above. Somewhere out there, beyond Saturn's rings, Earth still orbited. The sun, but it was no longer the blue world of her ancestors. Kate was tall and lean, built for life in space. Her great-great-grandmother had been one of the original refugees. Kate had never breathed natural air or felt rain on her skin, but she carried the memory of Earth in her genes and in her heart. "Admiral, the morning briefing is ready," said Commander Pete Johnson. He pushed himself through the air toward her, moving with the easy grace of someone born in space. Kate nodded and followed him deeper into Titan Base. The base was carved into the ice moon's surface, hidden from alien sensors by miles of frozen water. 10 million humans lived here now, alone, with another 20 million scattered across secret colonies throughout the outer solar system. The briefing room was packed. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, and miners floated in neat rows, their magnetic boots keeping them attached to the metal floor. These people looked different from the humans who had lived on Earth. They were taller, with larger lungs and thicker bones. Their eyes were bigger, adapted for the dim light of the outer planets. Dr. Alex Turner started the meeting. He was the head of the Genetic Enhancement Project, the program that had helped humans survive in space. "The latest generation is ready," he said, pulling up images on the main screen. "Enhanced radiation resistance, improved reflexes, and better oxygen processing. Our children are becoming something new." Kate studied the genetic charts. Over 1,000 years, humans had guided their own evolution. They were stronger now, smarter, and perfectly adapted for life in the cold darkness between worlds. The aliens had tried to wipe them out, but instead had created something more dangerous. What about the stealth technology? Kate asked. Engineer Ben Carter smiled. He was short and stocky, with the thick arms of someone who worked with metal and machines all day. "We've cracked it, Admiral. Our ships can hide from their sensors completely. We've been watching them for years, and they have no idea we exist." Ben brought up images of sleek ships built in hidden shipyards throughout the Kuiper Belt. They looked nothing like the old Earth vessels. These ships were black as space itself, designed to be invisible. Project Nemesis is ahead of schedule. We'll have 500 warships ready within 10 years. Kate felt a surge of satisfaction. For 1,000 years, humans had hidden and planned and prepared. They had studied every piece of alien technology they could find. They had learned to build better engines, stronger weapons, and smarter computers. The hunters were about to become. The hunted intelligence officer Maya Foster spoke next. She was young, barely 20, but her eyes held the wisdom of someone who had seen terrible things. "I've completed my mission to Europa," she said. Europa had once been one of humanity's colony worlds. Now it was covered with crystal cities where the aliens lived. Maya had spent 6 months there, disguised as a maintenance worker, watching and learning. "They've expanded beyond Earth," Maya reported. 17 worlds now belong to them. They've forgotten about us completely. In their records, humans are listed as extinct species, eliminated during planetary cleaning operation. Kate felt anger burn in her chest. The aliens had murdered 8 billion people, and then forgotten about it like it was nothing. They thought humans were just another pest they had wiped out. "They've grown soft," Maya continued. 1,000 years of easy victories have made them careless. Their security is weak. Their military is more for show than fighting. They don't expect any real threats. Dr. Alex Turner leaned forward. "Maya, did you collect biological samples?" Maya nodded and held up a small container. Blood, tissue, and genetic material from 12 different alien individuals. Everything you need for the special project. Kate knew what the special project was, though they rarely spoke about it openly. Dr. Turner and his team were creating weapons designed specifically to kill aliens. Diseases that would attack their biology while leaving humans untouched. It was the kind of warfare that would have horrified the old Earth humans, but 1,000 years of exile had changed humanity's moral compass. "How long until the first test?" Kate asked. 6 months, Alex replied. "We'll start with something small. Make it look like a natural outbreak on one of their colony worlds." Ben Carter brought up a star map showing the alien empire. Red dots marked their 17 worlds, connected by bright lines showing trade routes and communication networks. "We've identified the weak points," he said. 3 isolated colonies on the outer edge. If they disappear, the aliens will think it was equipment failure or natural disaster. Kate studied the map. Each red dot represented millions of alien lives. 1,000 years ago, she might have felt sick about planning their deaths. Now she felt nothing but cold satisfaction. The aliens had started this war when they burned Earth. Humanity was just going to finish it. "Admiral," said Captain Luke Davis, head of the Phantom Infiltration Unit, "my people are in position on 7 worlds. We can strike whenever you give." The order. Luke's Phantoms were the most dangerous humans alive. Through genetic modification and advanced surgery, they could change their appearance to look like different alien species. They had spent decades slowly working their way into alien society, building trust and gaining access to important facilities. Kate looked around the room at these descendants of Earth's refugees. They were patient, clever, and absolutely ruthless. The aliens had tried to exterminate humanity, but instead had created the perfect predator. "Begin Phase 1, Kate ordered. 3 outer colonies disappear over the next year. Make it look random. Make them think they're unlucky, not under attack." The room erupted in quiet satisfaction. After 1,000 years of hiding, humanity was finally ready to strike back. As the meeting ended, Kate floated alone in the briefing room, looking at the star map. Somewhere in that vast galaxy, the aliens lived in comfort and safety, never knowing that death was coming for them. The great burning had taken 8 billion human lives. Now it was time to collect payment with interest for every single one of them. The long exile was ending. The hunt was about to begin, and when it was over, the galaxy would learn why you should never leave humans alive to remember what you did to them. 2,000 years after the Great Burning, Commander Steve Mitchell stood on the bridge of his invisible ship, watching an alien colony die. The world below was called Nexus 7, and yesterday it had been home to 50 million aliens. Today, it was a graveyard. Steve's ship, the Ghost Walker, was completely hidden from alien sensors. It looked like empty space to their instruments. The aliens had no idea that death was watching them from the darkness. All population centers are silent, reported Lieutenant Carl Brown. The bioweapon worked perfectly. Complete elimination in 72 hours. Steve nodded. Dr. Amy Clark's latest creation had been tested on 3 worlds now. The disease was designed to attack alien biology specifically. It spread through their air and water, lay dormant for weeks, then activated all at once. The aliens died quickly, but not quickly enough to avoid spreading it to others. The best part was that it looked natural. The aliens' own doctors thought it was just a new plague, something that evolved naturally on their world. They had no idea that humans had engineered it in secret laboratories hidden in the asteroid belt. "Take us to the next target," Steve ordered. Omega Station in the Kepler system. The Ghost Walker moved through space like a shadow. Steve's fleet of 200 ships was scattered across the galaxy, each one invisible, each one carrying death to alien worlds. They called themselves the Ghost Fleet, and they had been hunting for 500 years. Steve was the great-grandson of the original Ghost Fleet commander. His family had been born for this war, raised from childhood to hate the aliens and everything they stood for. He had never seen Earth, but he dreamed of it every night. Blue skies, green grass, and 8 billion people who had died for the crime of existing. Dr. Amy Clark worked in her mobile laboratory, hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid. She was old now, over 200 years thanks to genetic enhancement, but her mind was still sharp. She had created 17 different diseases, each one worse than the last. "The new strain is ready," she told Steve over the secure communication channel. "This one attacks their nervous system. They'll suffer for months before they die." Amy's laboratory was a place of controlled madness. Alien tissue samples floated in glass containers. Computer screens showed genetic sequences and molecular structures. She worked alone, surrounded by the tools of biological warfare. The old Amy, from before the exile, might have been horrified by what she had become. The new Amy just felt satisfaction when another alien world went silent. Captain Luke Davis led the Phantom infiltration teams on 30 different worlds. His people had been surgically altered to look like various alien species. They had spent decades building false identities, getting jobs, making friends, becoming trusted members of alien society. Luke himself had lived on the alien capital world for 20 years. He was known as Velthak, a respected engineer who helped design their defense systems. The aliens trusted him completely. They had no idea that he was helping to plan their extinction. "The shipyard on Altair Prime is ready," Luke reported during a secret meeting. "I've planted charges in the main reactor. When it explodes, it will take out their entire military construction facility." The Phantoms were humanity's secret weapon. They moved freely through alien society, gathering intelligence, sabotaging equipment, and spreading diseases. When an important alien official died in an accident, it was usually a Phantom who had arranged it. When a colony ship disappeared in deep space, it was the Phantoms who had sabotaged its navigation system. The aliens were starting to notice that something was wrong. Admiral Veltar, their military commander, had called emergency meetings as reports came in from across the Empire. Colonies were going silent. Officials were dying. Supply convoys were vanishing without a trace. "We're facing an unknown enemy," Veltar told his officers. "Someone is attacking us, but we can't see them. Our sensors detect nothing. Our intelligence services have no idea who's responsible." The alien admirals looked at each other with growing fear. They had ruled the galaxy for 2,000 years without facing a real threat. Now something was killing them from the shadows, and they didn't know how to fight back. Historian Ellen Wright broadcast from her hidden base on Pluto. She was the keeper of humanity's memory, the one who made sure no one forgot why they were fighting. Her daily broadcasts reached every human colony in the galaxy. Today marks another victory, Ellen said into her microphone. Nexus 7 has joined the 36 other alien worlds that have paid the price for Earth's burning. We are the children of the murdered billions, and we will not rest until every alien world is as dead as Earth. Ellen's broadcasts reminded humanity of their purpose. Children grew up listening to her voice, learning about the blue world they had never seen, and the 8 billion people who had died there. She made sure the fire of revenge burned bright in every human heart. The alien empire was crumbling from within. Their outer colonies were dying one by one. Their officials lived in fear of assassination. Their military was spread thin trying to protect too many worlds from an enemy they couldn't see. On the alien capital world, Emperor Zefthak called his advisors together. He was old and tired, worried about the mysterious plague that was destroying his empire. How many worlds have we lost? He asked. 37 confirmed dead, his science advisor reported. 14 more have stopped responding to communications. We estimate that over 400 million of our people are dead. The Emperor's skin turned pale blue with fear. What kind of enemy can kill entire worlds without being detected? We don't know, Your Majesty. Our best scientists think it might be a natural plague, but the pattern is too organized. Someone is targeting us deliberately. The Emperor looked out the window at his crystal city. 2,000 years ago, his ancestors had thought they were cleaning up a dirty world by killing its inhabitants. Now those same inhabitants were somehow reaching out from extinction to destroy everything the aliens had built. Steve Mitchell stood in the command center of Titan Base, looking at the galaxy map. Red dots showed alien worlds. Gray dots showed the worlds that were already dead. Soon, there would be more gray than red. Phase 3 is complete, he reported to Admiral Kate Williams' successor. 41 worlds eliminated. The aliens are in full panic mode. They're pulling their fleets back to defend their core systems. Good, the Admiral replied. That's exactly what we want. Let them huddle together in fear. It will make Phase 4 much easier. Steve smiled as he looked at the star map. The aliens had thought they were so smart when they burned Earth. They had believed they were the galaxy's master race, destined to rule forever. Now they were learning what it meant to be hunted by something smarter, more patient, and infinitely more ruthless than they could imagine. The Invisible War was entering its final stage. Soon, the ghosts would reveal themselves, and the galaxy would see what humanity had become during its long exile in the dark. 3,000 years had passed since Earth burned, and Fleet Admiral Dan Roberts stood aboard the biggest warship humanity had ever built. The UHS Retribution stretched 5 miles from bow to stern, bristling with weapons that could crack planets. Around it, 4,999 other ships waited in the darkness between stars. Dan was different from his ancestors who had fled Earth so long ago. He was 7 feet tall, with silver eyes that could see in near darkness, and reflexes faster than any human from the old world. His bones were reinforced with metal, his muscles enhanced with genetic modifications. He was built for war, and war was all he had ever known. Final status report, Dan ordered. Chief Science Officer Grace Parker floated up to his command chair. She carried a tablet displaying data that would have terrified the old Earth scientists. The gravitational cascade bombs are ready, Admiral. 150 devices, each capable of destroying a planet by collapsing its core. Grace was a genius, even by the standards of enhanced humans. She had spent her entire life perfecting the ultimate weapon. Unlike the crude plasma bombardments the aliens had used on Earth, her bombs would tear worlds apart from the inside out, leaving nothing but asteroid fields. How do they work? Dan asked, though he already knew the answer. We plant them deep, in a planet's crust. When activated, they create a gravitational anomaly that spreads throughout the planetary core. The world literally tears itself apart. Complete destruction in under 6 hours. Dan nodded with satisfaction. The aliens had turned Earth into a burned wasteland. Humanity would do worse to them. When the Cascade bombs finished their work, there wouldn't even be ruins left to remember the alien empire. Ground Commander Tim Brooks appeared on the main screen from his training facility on New Geneva, a rogue planet drifting in the emptiness between star systems. Behind him, Dan could see thousands of soldiers drilling in zero-gravity combat. The final generation is ready, Admiral, Tim reported. 50,000 troops, all genetically optimized for combat. They've been training since birth for this mission. Dan studied the soldiers on the screen. They looked more like weapons than people. Each one was 8 feet tall, covered in bio-armor that was grown directly into their skin. Their faces were hidden behind black masks, and their eyes glowed red. In the darkness, these were the children of humanity's exile, and they knew only one purpose: the complete extinction of the alien race. What about psychological conditioning? Don asked. Complete, Tim replied. They feel no mercy, no hesitation, no doubt. When they see an alien, they will kill it. When they see an alien city, they will destroy it. They are perfect soldiers for a war of extermination. Dan felt proud as he watched the super soldiers train. Humanity had learned from its mistakes. When Earth was attacked, humans had tried to negotiate, to find peaceful solutions, to show mercy to their enemies. That weakness had cost 8 billion lives. These new humans would never make the same error. The alien empire was in chaos. Emperor Zefik sat in his crystal palace, reading reports of entire sectors going dark. 73 worlds had fallen silent over the past 500 years. His scientists estimated that over 2 billion aliens were dead, killed by diseases, accidents, and mysterious disappearances. Your Majesty, said General Kethvar, his military commander, we've lost contact with the Outer Rim colonies. Whatever is attacking us has reached our core systems. The Emperor's hands shook as he read the latest intelligence reports. His people were dying, and he still had no idea who was responsible. The attacks seemed random, but there was a pattern that terrified him. The enemy was working systematically inward, destroying the Empire piece by piece. Could it be the humans? Asked Science Advisor Velmoth. The room fell silent. The word human had not been spoken in official meetings for over 1,000 years. According to all records, the species had been completely eliminated during the cleaning of Earth. Impossible, General Kethvar said. We killed them all. The planet was sterilized completely. But the Emperor wasn't so sure. Late at night, when he couldn't sleep, he sometimes wondered if his ancestors had made a terrible mistake. What if some humans had escaped? What if they had been hiding all this time, growing stronger, planning revenge? Intelligence Director Nina. Scott smiled as she watched the alien communications from her spy station in the Vega system. Her agents had been intercepting enemy transmissions for decades, and she could see the growing panic in their messages. They're starting to suspect, she reported to Admiral Roberts. The word human came up in their emergency council meeting yesterday. Nina had been born and raised for intelligence work. Her brain was enhanced with computer implants that let her process information at superhuman speeds. She could speak 47 alien languages and had memorized the complete cultural histories of 18 different species. Are they taking defensive measures? Dan asked. They're pulling their fleets back to protect the core worlds. Just like we predicted. The aliens are so frightened that they're abandoning their outer territories completely. This was exactly what humanity wanted. Let the aliens huddle together in their core systems. It would make the final extermination much easier when all the targets were in one place. The phantom agents embedded throughout alien society received their final orders. Captain Luke Davis, who had spent 30 years disguised as an alien engineer, placed the last of his sabotage devices in the defense grid around the alien capital. All systems compromised, he reported. When the attack begins, their planetary shields will fail within minutes. Luke had become the most dangerous human alive. He could walk freely through the alien capital, trusted by everyone, never suspected of being anything other than a loyal citizen. Tomorrow, when the war began, he would activate hidden viruses in their computer systems and watch their civilization collapse from within. Dr. Amy Clark prepared her final biological weapon. At 300 years old, kept alive by advanced medical technology, she had become something more like a force of nature than a person. Her disease would be released simultaneously on every remaining alien world. This strain is different, she explained to Admiral Roberts. It doesn't just kill them. It makes them suffer for weeks, watching their bodies break down cell by cell. They'll die knowing that something is hunting them, something that wants them to feel pain. Amy's eyes glowed with a cold fire as she spoke. She had spent 3 centuries perfecting the art of biological warfare, and her masterpiece would ensure that the aliens died in agony, just as the 8 billion humans had died when Earth burned. The final countdown began. Historian Ellen Wright made her last broadcast to the human colonies scattered across the galaxy. Her voice, transmitted on secret frequencies, reached every human settlement from the ice mines of Pluto to the orbital cities of Alpha Centauri. Children of Earth, she said, the day of judgment has come. For 3,000 years, we have prepared. We have grown strong in the darkness. We have become something new, something terrible, something our ancestors could never have imagined. Today, we reveal ourselves to the galaxy. Today, we show them what happens when you try to exterminate humanity. Admiral Roberts stood on the bridge of the Retribution, looking at the tactical display showing 5,000 warships ready for battle. Each ship represented centuries of human ingenuity, rage, and determination. They were faster than anything the aliens possessed, armed with weapons beyond alien understanding, crewed by soldiers who had been bred for this single moment. Open a channel to all alien worlds, Dan ordered. The communication system activated, broadcasting on every frequency. The aliens used. For the first time in 3,000 years, a human voice spoke directly to the species that had burned Earth. We are the children of the world you destroyed, Dan said. We are the descendants of the 8 billion you murdered. You thought you had wiped us out, but you only made us stronger. We have spent 3,000 years preparing for this moment. We have not forgotten. We have not forgiven. Your judgment has come. Across the galaxy, on every surviving alien world, the message played on every screen, every communication device, every public broadcast system. The dead had returned, and they wanted revenge. The greatest war in galactic history was about to begin, and humanity intended to make sure it would also be the last. The war lasted exactly 47 days. On the first day, Commander Rick Johnson led 300 human warships out of hyperspace above Zephyr Prime, the alien homeworld. The ships appeared like dark angels of death, their hulls black as the void between stars, each one bearing the symbol of a burned planet crossed by a sword. Rick stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Vengeance, watching the alien capital world grow larger on his screen. The planet was covered in crystal cities that sparkled like jewels in the sunlight. 50 billion aliens lived there, going about their daily lives, never knowing that their extinction had just arrived. All ships, this is Commander Johnson. Rick spoke into his radio. Today we finish what they started 3,000 years ago. Today we make them pay for every human life they took. Show them no mercy, because they showed us none. The alien defense fleet rose to meet them, but it was like watching children fight against giants. The aliens had grown soft during their long reign as galactic masters. Their ships were beautiful, but weak, designed more for show than battle. The human vessels were ugly, brutal, and built for one purpose: killing. The battle was over in 6 hours. Every alien ship was destroyed, their crews dead, their beautiful formations scattered like broken toys. The humans lost only 3 vessels, and those were from accidents. Not enemy fire. Dr. Holly Adams activated her biological weapons from her command ship in orbit. The diseases she had spent centuries perfecting were released into the planet's atmosphere. This was not the slow death she had given the outer colonies. This was quick, brutal, and designed to cause maximum terror. Deployment complete, Holly reported. Full planetary infection within 12 hours. Holly was over 400 years old, kept alive by technology that would have seemed like magic to her ancestors. She had become something beyond human, a living weapon devoted entirely to alien extinction. As she watched her diseases spread across the planet below, she felt a satisfaction that was almost spiritual. Ground Commander Tim Brooks led the final assault on the alien capital city. His super soldiers dropped from orbit in metal pods, crashing through the crystal spires like meteors. Each soldier was a perfect killing machine, 8 feet tall, covered in bio-armor, carrying weapons that could level city blocks. The aliens tried to fight back, but they faced an enemy they couldn't understand. These weren't the humans they had burned on Earth so long ago. These were the children of exile, bred for war, knowing only hatred and the need for revenge. Tim's soldiers moved through the crystal city like death itself. They killed everything that moved, alien, civilian, and soldier alike. Buildings exploded under their weapons. Streets ran with alien blood. The beautiful capital that had stood for 3,000 years was being torn apart by the descendants of the people the aliens thought they had wiped out. Emperor Zefak sat in his throne room, watching his world die through the windows of his crystal palace. He was old, almost 1,000 years, and he had ruled the galaxy for most of that time. Now he was witnessing the end of everything his people had built. "Your Majesty?" gasped General Kethver, stumbling into the throne room. Half his body was burned from human weapons, and green blood leaked from his wounds. The city is lost. The humans are killing everyone. They're not taking prisoners. The Emperor looked at his dying general with tired eyes. How many humans are there? We don't know. They seem to be everywhere at once. Our sensors can't track them properly. But Your Majesty, there's something else. The humans ... They're not like the ones we killed on Earth. They're bigger, stronger, faster. It's like they've become something else. Emperor Zefthek understood. His ancestors had tried to exterminate humanity, but they had failed. The survivors had spent 3,000 years changing themselves, becoming something designed specifically to hunt and kill aliens. They had turned extinction into evolution. "Is there any way to negotiate?" the Emperor asked. General Kethvar shook his head. "They're not interested in surrender. They want us all dead, Your Majesty, just like we wanted them dead." The Emperor closed his eyes and felt the weight of his species' sins. 3,000 years ago, his people had committed genocide without a second thought. Now the victims had returned to collect payment with interest. Dr. Amy Clark, ancient but still sharp, watched from her command ship as the biological weapons did their work. The aliens on the planet below were dying in agony, their bodies failing, in ways their medicine couldn't treat. She had designed the diseases to attack every system in their bodies, making death slow and painful. How long until total planetary death? Admiral Roberts asked. 18 hours, Amy replied. By tomorrow. Zephyr Prime will be a graveyard. But Amy wasn't finished. She had one more gift for the alien homeworld. As the biological weapon spread, she activated the gravitational cascade devices that had been planted months ago by phantom agents. The bombs were buried deep in the planet's core, waiting for this moment. The planet began to shake. Deep underground, the cascade devices were creating gravitational anomalies that spread through the planetary core like cracks in glass. The aliens who were still alive felt the ground trembling beneath their feet, but they were too sick from the diseases to understand what was happening. General Pat Kennedy commanded the assault on the remaining alien military bases scattered across the planet. His soldiers were unstoppable, moving through enemy positions like a plague of metal and death. The aliens had no defense against these enhanced humans, who felt no fear, no pain, no mercy. All military targets destroyed, Pat reported. The aliens have no functional defense capability remaining. Pat was a work of art, genetically designed to be the perfect soldier. He had been bred for war, trained from birth to kill aliens, and conditioned to feel satisfaction only when his enemies were dead. As he watched the last alien military base explode, he felt a deep contentment. Luke Davis, the master spy who had spent decades disguised as an alien, stood in the control center of the planetary defense grid. Around him, alien technicians worked frantically at their computers, trying to restore their failed systems. They had no idea that the helpful engineer Velthek, who had been working beside them for 30 years, was actually their destroyer. System restoration impossible, Luke reported to his hidden radio. All planetary defenses are permanently offline. Luke had sabotaged every critical system on the planet. The shields were down, the weapons were disabled, and the communication networks were compromised. The aliens were blind, defenseless, and dying as the alien technicians around him began to collapse from the biological weapons. Luke removed his disguise. For the first time in 30 years, he showed his true human face. The dying aliens looked at him with shock and horror, finally understanding who had been living among them all this time. "My name is Luke Davis," he said to the dying aliens. "I am human. We are the children of Earth, and we have come home to collect what you owe us." On the other remaining alien worlds, the same scene played out simultaneously. Human fleets appeared, without warning, bringing death and destruction to every alien colony. The gravitational cascade bombs activated on 17 worlds at once, each one beginning the process of planetary collapse. Admiral Dan Roberts stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching the tactical display as red dots disappeared one by one. Each dot represented an alien world dying under human weapons. The revenge that had taken 3,000 years to plan was being completed in less than 2 months. "Status report," Dan ordered. "Zephyr Prime is entering final collapse phase," reported his tactical officer. "The other 16 worlds will follow within hours. Total alien population remaining, less than 1 million across all worlds." Dan felt a deep satisfaction. When this day began, 50 billion aliens had been alive. By tomorrow, there would be none. The species that had burned Earth and murdered 8 billion humans would be extinct, wiped out just as completely as they had tried to wipe out humanity. Emperor Zefthak felt his palace shaking as the planet's core began to collapse. Through his crystal windows, he could see the sky turning red as gravitational forces tore at the atmosphere. His beautiful world was dying, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. In his final moments, the Emperor finally understood the magnitude of his ancestors' mistake. They had believed that wiping out humanity would be easy, just another planetary cleaning operation. They had never imagined that the survivors would spend 3,000 years becoming something far more dangerous than the original humans had ever been. We created them, he whispered as his palace began to crumble around him. We turned them into monsters, and now they've come for us all. The gravitational cascade reached critical mass. Zephyr Prime, the crown jewel of the alien empire, began to tear itself apart. The planet's crust cracked like an eggshell, exposing the molten core to space. Continents broke away and spun into the void. The crystal cities that had stood for millennia were crushed to powder. Doctor Amy Clark watched the destruction from orbit, her ancient eyes reflecting the light of the dying world. She had lived for 4 centuries with one purpose: to see this moment. Every disease she had created, every weapon she had designed, every sleepless night spent planning alien extinction had led to this. It's beautiful, she said softly as the planet exploded in a ball of